Is there anybody there? Oh, jeez. Ah, there is. Jim K. Can't believe someone would crush two perfectly good cycles. Definitely not a Suzuki. Morning, Jim. It looks like just you and me this morning, mate. Thanks for the video you sent through. My normal phone is a Samsung, so it wouldn't play the video. So I'm going to have to open it up on my other phone, which is an iPhone, and then it should play okay. Either that or I can convert it on my laptop to a MP4 or whatever, and then it'll play. But I have no idea what the video is, so we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, mate, how are you? Hope you're all good. I'm very... Oh, yeah, we have got 12 people, but nobody's commenting. Oh, here we go. Look, Off-Road Fan. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Off-Road Fan. Who else have we got? I don't know. Oh, we're down to 10 already. Jeez. Maybe it's because I haven't shaved. That could be it, putting people off. I don't know. Anyway, it's time for some breakfast. Look at that. We're on these today because they're cheap. And at the moment, I am skint. I tell you, it's not good. Jim, just starting to rain, and Killswitch BB. Morning, mate. Good morning, Killswitch. Hope you're all good. And breakfast time. So, hang on, see if I can move around a bit. You only see one bike, can't you? Oh, it's tough. The bikes. Well, quite some time ago, I came across the opportunity, and I do like opportunities because I don't like them to go by the wayside, of purchasing some motorcycles from a government department. I don't want to say too much because it's there isn't really a conflict with work at all, but best to keep it, discreet. So a government department had a subsidiary of one had a number of bikes that had been taken off the fleet for use on farms around New Zealand, and they were just parked outside in the rain, all just being robbed for bits, basically. Some were in far better state than others. Anyway, I struck a deal with them because I asked them what they were going to do with them, and they said, "Oh, well, they're going to go for scrap shortly." So I did actually pay for some of them. This isn't these ones here. This is the ones that I got probably 6 months, maybe 9 months ago. And we got 13 of those bikes. And the vast majority were Hondas, and a bit similar to the one that's on the hoist now. And I gave all those to Ben, my lad, who then basically did some of them up and sold them, which was great. He sort of made two or three good bikes out of probably 8 or 9 scrap bikes, and he did okay out of it. He enjoyed doing it. It was a good experience for him, and he certainly got a lot more familiar with the Honda farm bikes and the common problems with them. I kept the Suzukis. He got the Hondas, and there was one Yamaha AG200 which is still in the shed, which, who knows, one day might be a video. It's just sat there in the shed at the moment, and it has had a catastrophic engine failure, so that'd be quite a cool one to pull apart and maybe fix as well. But these bikes, I went there the other day, and the plan was to pick up 8 bikes, and unfortunately what they were asking cost-wise was, well, it was 5-fold to what I previously paid, which was really expensive for what they were. I'm not going to give you the price, but I mean, it was still well worth buying them, especially on reflection. But I'm not sure whether I'm going to go down that route again. There were 8, and out of those 8, I only picked 3. There was no way I was paying that kind of money for some of the bikes that were there because they weren't even complete bikes. So I left those, and they did go to the scrap. That's right. They'll be getting crushed later in the week, probably. Or next week. But out of it came 3 bikes, and there was 2 Hondas and 1 Suzuki. This is one of the Hondas. This is what is it? It's a CTX 200. It's 2014 vintage. It's called a Bushlander AG, And I've got the VIN number. I've even got a registration number for it because it was registered for the road. And the Regio actually expires on the 11th of March next year. So all I need to do is get a replacement number plate and a replacement Regio label, and obviously do the work on the bike, and that one can be used on the public road. Now the other one, the DR, which is sort of out of shot now, but it was in the thumbnail. We'll have a bit more of a look a bit later on. The DR is quite a bit newer. That's a 2016, although it was probably registered. Well, it was probably a 2015 vintage, but registered in 2016. So it's about 4 years old. And that one is also registered for the road. So again, I just need to get a new number plate. They'll issue a new plate for it. It's about $9 and a reprint on the Regio label. And again, that one's good for the road. The third bike that I picked up was a Honda XR125 LEK, which I believe is Chinese. And that one is also registered for the road. Hasn't been deregistered, and the government department are really keen on deregistering stuff. So as soon as I got the bikes back, I went online and transferred them to my name, so they couldn't do that because they're worth a lot more money if they're registered for the road. And that one's got Regio till the 27th of May next year, 2021, which is fantastic. Now that's not full road Regio, which is worth about $600. That is about $450 actually for a bike that size. That is farm Regio, but nonetheless, it's still pretty good. So there you go. I got 2 more bikes, and the third one I've got on the trailer, together with another one out of the shed that we got on the last batch, to go up to Auckland for Ben to do some more tinkering, and maybe make one good bike out of 2. I don't know. Holy moly! What's going on here? Loads of comments. Start right. Brandon, good morning, Andy. I've done my ramble now, sorry. Let's just pull that around a bit more. There we go, look, that's better. I just got home from a coffee and machine event here in New England. Lots of nice rides. Are there car bike events in New Zealand going on yet? No, not yet. I mean, we do have a massive event, probably the largest event in New Zealand, called Field Days. That's one word, sort of a play on 2 words, field and then days. So Field Days. Which has been cancelled this year. They've turned it into a virtual show, so you just go online and, I don't know, browse around various web pages, I suppose, and look for offers and deals. Because traditionally that is the biggest sale event within the farming and maybe even leisure industry, to be honest, because a lot of motorcycle dealers have, or manufacturers have stands there, even some local dealers. And they have a national event, which is out near Hamilton at Mystery Creek, in-house joke, Misery Creek. And then there's regional ones as well. There's one down, I was at one in Gore, or just outside Gore, back end of last year, and there's a few others around. So it's just a big, agricultural show, I think you would call it. A bit like the Great Yorkshire Show in England. Similar sort of thing. Are there any sort of real car shows going on yet? No, I haven't really heard of anything. We normally have like Big Boys Toys, and sounds terrible, doesn't it? And a few others, motorcycle shows and stuff up in Auckland at the various showgrounds. And I haven't seen any of those advertised. I think basically it's just everything's on hold and it'll all get going again next year. Bit of a shame, but hey, we'll get over it. Ignores Dubrovskis. Hey, Andy. Sorry, I'm trying to pronounce names, but, I'm not doing it in jest. Hey, Andy, can you help me out? I am stuck. How do I find out the ring gap for a 2-stroke water-cooled motocross engine? The cylinder bore is 70.5. Okay, well, you must know the make and model of the bike, so you should really just get the service manual. It'll be in the service manual for sure, under engine specifications. If you haven't got that, then contact a local engine specialist, especially one that does 2 strokes, and he'll be able to advise you on a sensible ring gap for an engine of that bore size. I'm not going to comment because I'll only get it wrong. And I just work from the manuals. Simple. MG, morning. Good morning, MG. Josh Benny. Good morning, Andy. It's 2:30 p.m. Saturday afternoon for me. Well, that's quite civilized, isn't it? I wish it was 2:30 Saturday afternoon here. I'm having burgers and dark ale beer. Irish death. Good, innit? It is. It is. I did have a chicken burger for tea last night, and that was very nice. Mrs. Mechanic did a great job with that. So enjoy your dark ale there, Josh. John Dyer, hi all, and Andy. That's good. Thank you, John. Good to have you on board, sir. Jim K. Andy, you could operate a breaker's yard. Nah, I sort of did that with the off-road centre. We during the first 10 years, and we ran the little Suzuki SJ410s and 413s and the Samurais. Some were built in Spain, most of them were built in Japan because I was pretty picky on what bought. And we ran a fleet size which grew to about, I don't know, about 18, maybe 20 Suzukis, I think it was, by year 10. And then we started, we were just running out of Suzuki Jeeps. At that point, we'd purchased 327 of these little Suzuki Jeeps from around the UK. I collected most of them myself. The majority were just stripped for parts to run the ones that were on the fleet. Some parts were sold retail to help people out. And that was a little sideline business. So I suppose you could say we ran a scrapyard or, second-hand parts type of business. And if we got a gem, we got one that was pretty tidy, then it would get run through the workshops, get a roll cage put in, and other bits and pieces, fuel tank guards and isolation switches and spotlights and new battery and new wiring for the charging system and stuff, just to make them a lot more reliable and more resilient. There was quite a few modifications that we made. Oh, and a rear disc conversion as well for the brakes. And then it would run on the fleet until such time that a customer destroyed it. We had one vehicle that we put on the fleet and it was written off within 3 days of going on the fleet. I was not a happy chap. I wasn't. So now I've done that, stripped lots of vehicles, put the parts on shelves, labeled them up and then sold them or used them. So I don't know. I don't have the space for that kind of stuff anymore. I already have way too much crap here. Now then, Jim. Isn't that what they say in the UK? It is, Jim, you're right. And we had a whole field full of scrap vehicles. I loved it. I absolutely loved it because it was so interesting. And the fact that you could just wander out, pick the same year and model of the one that you're working on, pop the bonnet, and sure enough, whether it was a little screw or a clip or usually the little tiny stuff that you just didn't have, but you did because it was in the field. It was brilliant. Now then, okay, Magna, I'll disregard that, no problem. Jim K, 2014 and going to the scrap. What? I know, it's crazy. Jim K, how many kilometers? So 2014 is the Honda CTX 200. I don't know. Let's go have a look. I can't remember. Can I get up there? I might be able to get up there. Hang on a second, people. You'll have to tell me because I can't actually get up there. Or maybe I can. Hang on. Hang on a minute. Holy moly. Oh. What does that say? 19? 19139, I think it says from here. I don't know. You'll have to tell me in the comments. Oh, jeez. I'm back. It's so weird when you hold the camera like that, isn't it? It's very odd. Right, hang on then. Just got to plug the charger back in because like a numpty, I didn't put this phone on charge last night. It's the second time I've done that. Useless. Anyway, hopefully we're still transmitting. We are. That's good. Okay, that's better. Right, so how many Ks had it done? I think it's about just shy of 20,000 from what I could see, but it was a bit, I couldn't quite get the angle in there to see. 20,000 Ks for a farm bike. Farm bikes don't last very long, to be perfectly honest. They really don't. And from what I've found, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing these sort of, spending my time on essentially a low cost, low value bike. I could work on much higher end stuff, and the profit margin would be a lot higher. But I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it really to see what the common faults are with the other brands, and Jim K will know exactly what I'm on about, the other brands of bikes that are out there in the market. you know, be it Suzuki DR200s or the Honda CTX 200s, or, you know, the Kawasaki Sherpas, but I don't think there's too many of those around. I can't remember the last time I saw one of those on the farm. You know, and any other brands that are out there. Honda have gone down the Chinese route. It's not pretty, to be honest. The feedback that I get, and I mean, don't forget, I go into a large number of motorcycle dealers here in New Zealand, and they don't just work on one particular brand, even though they're a franchise outlet. They work on all brands. You know, you'll find a Honda dealer will be working on Yamahas and Kawasaki's and Suzuki's and so on as well, because they're not going to turn the work away. End of the day, it's all work. And some of the feedback that I get from the mechanics regarding the problems that they experience with the various makes and models of bikes is really interesting to see the differences in failure between brands and the common faults. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. It's good for me to see, and if I get asked for information, then I'll know it. But I enjoy fixing stuff. That's what it's all about. And with these sort of bikes, yeah, it's a few $100s for parts, but end of the day, you've got a usable little bike. I mean, yesterday, both bikes, I got off the trailer, and within about half an hour, I had them both running, which I wasn't expecting that. And I spent about 20 minutes chasing Marmite around the garden on the Honda. It was brilliant. I had so much fun doing that. It was a good laugh. I haven't ridden a bike for a while, to be honest. And we almost did a full donut outside the workshop. That's pretty cool. Marmite wasn't expecting that. Okay, so Jim, hopefully you saw the Ks. If you can let me know in the comments, that'd be cool. Mike Adams, hi all. I'm listening in while I work. Have to do an unscheduled load to pick up in Duffield, Virginia. Oh dear. Hey, those unscheduled loads are always the adventures, though, aren't they? You never quite know what's going to happen. Menox. Hi Andy, while restoring my car, I decided to change the U-joint spider bearings on the prop shaft. For those that don't know, English prop shaft front to rear of the car. Using aftermarket joints with standard shims. Don't know if it's a problem, but a slight play in it. Don't want any play in there. I tried hitting the yoke with a hammer, but I didn't get real flush. About 0.5 to 1 mil play. No, that's way too much. Friend told me it will poorly seat after driving. Oh, sorry, it'll probably seat after driving, but Toyota has different shims. When you're in if it's a, what car was it? Did you say? Didn't say. So normal car, you're in fourth gear. It's a manual. I'm assuming it's a manual because manuals are the best ones. You're in fourth gear. That prop shaft is spinning at the same speed as your crankshaft. Wow, it really is. So it has to be balanced because you're just going straight through the gearbox. You know, the input shaft is connected to the output shaft, and that's connected to the clutch. You know, the input shaft is connected to the clutch, and that's connected to the crankshaft. So whatever speed your crank's doing, so is your prop. It has to be balanced, and it can't have any play in the yokes, otherwise you'll get massive amounts of vibration. It could cause damage to your gearbox, and it could also just fail. If it's down at the diff end at the back, I'm assuming it's rear, obviously it is rear-wheel drive, then it could knock out your pinion bearings on your diff as well, which is not good. So you shouldn't mix the shims. You should really have just gone for a genuine joint. I know they're expensive, but you know, do it once, do it right, pay the money. At least you're doing the work yourself, so you're not paying labour. For the joint, difference in the joint. Also, with some force, I was able to rotate one of the buckets, fix or replace yoke. But so you're saying the yoke's bent? And can you get another yoke? That's the question. Is that one not going to be bent? I don't know. I mean, sorry, I was reading that thinking that the bearing wasn't quite the same spec. The yokes are normally cast, so I wouldn't. Well, they cast. I don't know. Once they get bent, it's not a particularly tidy job trying to straighten them up again. That's for sure. John Dyer, damn that COVID. Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. It's not good there, John. Minnow XZ, feels like an odd question. Try getting an answer for it. No, it's not an odd question at all. I used to do a lot of the prop shafts on the little Suzukis and the Nissan Patrols that we had. And if there was any kind of discrepancy, if it looked a bit bent or there was any kind of play, then we just either replace the bearing or replace the whole prop. We didn't mess around because you 9 times out of 10, you just get vibration. It doesn't last very long and it causes other damage on the vehicle. So you've got to do it right. Might have missed it in the workshop manual. Yeah, maybe. Miguel, how do you do? I do just fine, Miguel. It's not particularly warm in here. The one job that I didn't do this morning was plug the heater in. So it's a little bit chilly in New Zealand. It is getting slightly warmer. Jim K, those DR200s should be Japanese built. They are. The DRs are actually, they're really good. I do like them, to be perfectly honest. I wouldn't say huge, massive. Yep. Later. Oh yeah. I wouldn't say tremendous quality. I mean, we've seen already on the one that we did for Tool Girl Lilli and the inspection we did on Holly's bike, the true farm bike with the racks and stuff, both had broken rear spokes. So there's clearly a quality issue with the spokes. Maybe the spokes are made in China. A lot of spokes are these days, especially with bicycles and some motorcycles as well, the lower end bikes. So, it's not great quality. The engines are really good though. I must admit, the engines are spot on. Although I came across one on Monday last week, I'm not going to say where, in a workshop, and it had come in, it was practically brand new, and the lad there was trying to get the engine to turn over. It had seized up. So I said, oh, why is it seized up? Oh, it came in for its first service, and we gave it to the trainee to do the service on, and he didn't tighten up the sump bung. So the sump bung came loose, dropped all its oil. Rod didn't know, kept going around the farm, seized it up. Brand new bike. I'd be really upset if I was that guy's boss. You only ever do that kind of thing once, don't you? If you're going to put the drain bung in, part of the same job is torquing it up. Don't just finger tight it and then go back later on, because chances are you might forget to do it. Not good. Miguel, I had a TV that, let's say, after 5 minutes started the moisture up. Hey? Oh, you mean on the screen it got all that moisture on the inside of the screen as it warmed up? Yeah, it must have just been damp on the inside. Reynold. Oh, here we go, Reynold. I don't understand. I don't. You'll have to use... Okay, type out what you want, copy it, go into Google Translate from, I think it's Spanish to English. It'll give you the English. Copy that, put it back into your comment, right-click paste, and then click send. And then we can understand what you're on about. I'd love to be able to answer your questions, Reynold, but I don't understand what you're saying. Miguel, yes, cool. Al, hey Andy, sorry I'm late. Don't you worry, Al. You're on board now. That's all that matters. Reynolds at it again. Something to do with a 150cc Suzuki. Hola. Hello. Okay. Opinions. Ah, that could be opinions. Opinions on the Suzuki 150cc. Okay, Reynolds. What model? Is it a road bike? I think you're on about that. Is it a GSX 150, is it? Because if that's what you're on about, they're actually not bad little bikes, to be honest. I've known a couple of people that have bought those. Jim, sorry if it's going to be in a video, but what condition are the fluids on the bikes? Oil, gas? Well, Jim, I actually don't know. The engine oil, which I checked before I started them up, is pretty black. The fuel is good enough to run them because I didn't put any fuel in them. They get regularly serviced, that's for sure. And obviously the engine oil gets changed on a regular basis. They never change the brake fluid. I don't think they'd ever do that kind of stuff. for the front brake. Obviously the rear brake's a drum, so it hasn't got any. But I don't know. We'll get into it in the videos, and there'll definitely be a video on the Honda stuff. It could be a few months away yet, because I've got that CB750K2 to do a top end rebuild on now. But it'll just sit in the corner in the other shed. It'll be there for one day to get done. I'll just keep the rego alive until I get it finished. Miguel, but what about the gears? Because how high are the gears and how fast the speed? Hang on, Miguel. Are you talking? Sorry, I must have missed a comment there. Oh no, Reynolds on again, but Reynolds, I don't understand. So you mean the farm bikes? Well, they're all geared down. A farm bike gets different final drives. It gets different chain and sprocket kit fitted to gear them right down. And first gear, honestly, it's like a little tractor. It's brilliant. There's no point having a farm bike that's geared to do 60, 70, 80 k's an hour. It's just pointless. You want to get it. So top speed is probably 45, 50 k's at the very most. Not that they'll ever get that fast. But you don't want it too low geared, otherwise they're constantly up and down the gearbox, and then they get bored of using the clutch. So, then they stop using it. They just crash the gearbox, and then that kills the bike. So you tend to find they tend to spend their entire life in first, second, and third. What does Ewan McGregor say? Whatever happened to third, fourth, and fifth gear? Hey, they've just done another trip, haven't they, on electric e-bikes, e-motorcycles, Harley Davidsons, I believe they were. Anyway, but it's on Apple TV or something. Well, I haven't got Apple TV, so I can't see it. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Very disappointed they haven't put it on mainstream TV. Kristen, good work. Cheers, Kristen. Miguel, how warm is it in the garage? I don't know, but it's not quite as cold as it was last time. It's probably about 5 degrees centigrade. Fireblade 2102, just dropping in to say hello. All the best, Andy. Cheers, Fireblade. Good to have you on board, mate. Menox. That style of bearing. That's the style of bearing. Yeah, it'd be a cross joint, wouldn't it? Universal joint. So yeah, some of them you do have to shim, but if your shims are the wrong size, then they don't match the bearing, or there's some incompatibility between the bearing that you got and the fact that you're using the original shims. John Dyer, 37 degrees here today. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Actually, I'm pleased it's not 37 here, because I'll be sweating my nuts off at the moment. Jim K, no oil in the engine, no good. Correct. It's got oil, so we're okay. I don't know you. Oh, sorry, that's right. The one that the apprentice did. These ones are okay. I've test ridden both of them now. They're great. I don't know you could get a complete engine from Suzuki. I know the manufacturers won't sell engines, at least here in the States. Very hard to get complete engines these days. And often massive delays because they've got to get them off the production line. So in the end, it's just quicker to strip it down, all the bits you need, put that together again. But it's sometimes not cost effective. That's the problem. But it is time effective. And you've got to get the bike back to the customer. And I mean, to be honest, the customer that bought that bike, he's under New Zealand law, he's got every single right to demand either his money back because it's a catastrophic engine failure, or a replacement bike. I think I'd just ask for a replacement bike, to be honest. Give me another one. We'll start again. See if you can do it right second time round. And then they'd fix that bike up and sell it as probably as a demo bike or something, because it only had a few Ks on it. Andy Constantinu. Oh, I think I got that right. Hey Andy, here we go. From a very hot and muggy UK, it's 31 degrees here in Collier Row, Romford. Even at this time of night, 10 p.m. Man, you're not going to sleep well tonight. That's ridiculously hot. Miguel, do you like music? We all like music. Of course I do, Miguel. No. Yes, I do like music. I like music a lot. I listen to all sorts of stuff in the car. And I've got one of Pink's CDs going round and round and round in the car at the moment, because a lot of places in New Zealand don't have good radio reception. So I just put it in. It's been in about 2 weeks. So I know nearly all the songs by, word for word now. Mike Adams, I had a neighbour bring her Troy-built push mower because she said it wouldn't start. I discovered the tank was filled with diesel. You think I can clean it out and get it running again? Of course you can. No problem. I bet you can. Just go for it. Clean the carb out, clean the tank out, put a new filter on it, put a new spark plug in it. It should be fine. Nick, hello from Cupertino, CA, USA. So that's California, CA, isn't it? Miguel Grundlig, I don't like e-car or bike. Well, unfortunately, it's going to happen. Main manufacturers are all under a remit now to move to more environmental power sources. And whether we like it or not, I wouldn't say we're going to be the last generation of petrol heads, but I think Ben's generation will be the last generation. And I can see it already. A lot of the younger generation coming through are very, very pro e-vehicles because they want to save the planet. But what they don't realize, and it's all down to very, very smart is probably the wrong word, but the marketing that the companies and the governments do doesn't advise people of the huge carbon footprint created when they produce e-vehicles. And I think that should be taken into account, because if people are only using the e-vehicle for very short journeys, then the difference in the carbon footprint is marginal and probably not beneficial to the planet overall when you include the manufacturing of the vehicle. And the disposal of the vehicle when it comes to end of life as well. The recycling side of it's far more expensive and requires a lot more energy to recycle that kind of vehicle, especially the battery packs, if they get recycled. Miguel, do you like Alan Walker Spectra? I haven't heard Alan Walker Spectra. I'm not familiar with Alan Walker Spectra, but I will check it out. Jim K. Are there lots of consumer rights laws in New Zealand? There are, Jim, and they're very, very strong over here and only seem to be getting stronger. I heard in Ohio, if a bike is in the shop for longer than 30 days, what? It's grounded for a buyback. Jeez, that will be crippling for manufacturers, especially at the moment, given the poor parts supply going on around the world. It's not like that here. If you buy a new vehicle and it suffers, it has to have a major engine repair in the first few months of life, so to speak, then that is grounds you can demand either a full refund or a replacement bike. Now, obviously, those that are smart in the industry will just give them a replacement bike and retain the customer. Those that are not smart and let it go to court, the courts often just issue a refund. Demand that the supplier issue a refund and take the bike back. So, it's far more beneficial to deal with it, in-house and not let it go to court, because once it's in court, it becomes part of the public domain and it affects reputation as well. Minox, God, I should come up with a different nickname. I blame my youth. You should. Reynold, here we go. Opinions on Mac tools. Well, Reynold, I could answer that one for you. I believe Mac tools are very good. I don't have any Mac tools, but I have come across some of the older mechanics here in New Zealand have some Mac tools, and they are very happy with them. I think they're one of the good brands out there, or they used to be. Whether they are now, I don't know. Here Reynolds off again. Question about multimeter testers. To check the pulse. So you mean the pulse coil, the pickup coil for the crank? Yeah, if you get a fluke, then you could use any multimeter with a duty cycle on it, and that would show you the pulse. You also, if you get a peak voltage meter, you can pick that up as well. But I just use my scope. It's just easier. It doesn't take long to set the scope up, and you get to see the actual waveform, which is great. And don't get tricked. Some of the old CDIs, the pulse coil, pickup coil only gives out like up to 2 or 3 volts, whereas on the fuel-injected bikes, it can go up to, well, as you rev the engine, it can go up to 20 volts. So there's quite a difference in specification between the old crank angle pickup coils and the new ones. And that has caught a few techs out in the past. John, man, it is getting cold in here now. I should have brought my jacket out here. Yeah, and one more day of it, I'll lose the other one. Lol. Hang on, John. What was your other question? I've lost that. Hang on, John. 37 degrees here today. John. Yeah, hopefully it'll cool down a bit for you, John. Miguel. Oh man, there's so many. Oh, here we go. We're getting there. Miguel. Reynold Flores. What language do you speak? Only one word. Yeah, I think it's Spanish, but I'm not sure. Andy Constantino. I hate electric vehicles. No sound. Nothing beats the sound of an internal combustion engine, especially V8. I agree completely, Andy. And there was, it was raised a couple of years ago from what I was reading. I think it was when I was teaching, actually. Yes, it was. It was when I was at Unitech. That a study was done on electric cars. So not hybrids, just electric, the ones that are really quiet. And as a pedestrian, and it might have been done in the States, I'm not sure where the study was done, but as a pedestrian, there was it doubled the chance of being run over by a car if it was an electric car. So they were thinking about putting some kind of artificial noise on the cars to warn pedestrians that the car was approaching. Quite ironic in the fact that the New Zealand government are trying to reduce engine noise or exhaust noise from motorcycles and make them quieter. When you're riding a bike, often, especially when you're lane splitting through the Auckland traffic, the noise from the exhaust, because it's reasonably loud, is an advance warning to the cars ahead, provided they haven't got the radio on too loud, that a bike is coming along. And as bikes are getting quieter, the drivers don't get this advance warning and change lanes just at the wrong time and then wipe the bike out. And before you start, lane splitting, i.e. going between the traffic when it's slow moving up to about 50 kilometers an hour, is legal here in New Zealand. Interesting, isn't it? That, well, on the one hand, they're thinking about making everything quieter, but on the other hand, that would affect safety for a motorcyclist. Yeah, and the safety pedestrians as well. Miguel, wow. Jim K, really thinking I need to get a Pico scope. So many to choose from. There are. I mean, don't forget, Jim, the first scope, or the only scope that I bought was about the cheapest Pico that they make, was a 2-channel. Don't know where it is at the moment. It's somewhere. It might be lurking up there somewhere. I don't know. But and it cost me about 240 New Zealand dollars. It was really no more expensive than a reasonable quality or good quality multimeter, and that helped me to diagnose quite a few faults. And it actually was the tool that I used to diagnose the problem on the MR2, and there's a series on that. I won't tell you what the problem was. Those that watch the video will know. And very, very useful. And it was because of those videos that Pico Scope from the UK, Pico Technology, contacted me and supported the channel. They sent me across 2 of their 4-channel scopes. Very, very nice of them. And I've been using them ever since for diagnostics on all sorts of brands. But I use it a lot at work when I'm doing field repairs as well. It's pretty cool to be able to pull the scope out and plug it into your laptop and actually be able to see the waveforms and know what the problem is. It's very quick sometimes. It's good. Connor. You're getting a lot of do you like questions today, just so you know. I like tools, machinery, beer, and tool girls. Not necessarily in that order. Well done, Connor. I am getting a lot of questions like that, you're right. The coffee's cold. It gets too cold. I did actually order one of those thermo mugs from Zazzle for myself. I went for the Tool Girl Holly variety, and it hasn't arrived yet. I was checking yesterday and it got sent out early July. So, you know, we're sort of early August now. So that's 4 weeks, let's say. So hopefully another week and it should be here. Sometimes it takes up to 6 weeks for stuff to get to New Zealand. So fingers crossed, I'll be having warm coffee for a bit longer now. Reynolds at it again. Hello, friends. Something to do with ascribe it, right? English? Sorry, Reynolds. I can't. Oh, he's got fluke in there. Recommend maybe which fluke meter would do that. I don't have a fluke meter. I can't afford one yet. So I can't. You'll have to go on their website and have a look through there, Reynolds, and see which one will do that. But they're actually extremely good multimeters. I had one at work when I first started my current job. There was one at work, and it's disappeared, which really annoyed me because I was going to put that in my field service kit that I keep in my truck, but I can't find it anymore. So I think somebody's borrowed it, or it's got put in a box and it's in the warehouse somewhere. I can't find it. Kill switch. Try telling Lex Moto about any buyback or trading standards. Choose a profanity and apply it to them. Yeah. Well, the law is the law at the end of the day, but you know, some companies just do what they want to do, and if you want to go through the rigmaroles of taking them to court, then that's your call. But you shouldn't have to do that as a customer. You should be better looked after than that. Customer service varies tremendously between brands. Miguel, Andy, Constantino, same here. The Blackwoods Mechanic, hello from the USA. Hello, Blackwoods Mechanic, and hello, USA. I hope things are starting to improve a bit over there. From the last I heard, it's pretty bad. In fact, it's incredibly bad, in all honesty. Jim K, are there any Teslas in New Zealand? Loud pipes save lives. Correct, they do, and there are lots of Teslas here in New Zealand now. Not massive amounts, but they do have a dealership in Auckland. They may have other dealerships around the country, I don't know. But there are quite a few Teslas around now. I do see them. And I did do a video, I was at the ASB Showground a couple of years ago, and Tesla had a stand. It was a Big Boys Toys or something similar to that, some big event. And I got invited to join one of the drivers out on the test track, and he went through the slalom course, and we did a 0 to 60, or we did a standing start to show the acceleration of the car as well. And it's all on the video, and it was actually, it didn't get very many views, but it was actually, I found it really interesting to see how the car performed and how technology has come on, because they do really lead the way on that kind of stuff. I think was it Elon Musk? I think he's doing an amazing job, and he's definitely out for world domination, isn't he? He's on a mission, is that guy. Duke of the Dales, good morning, Andy. Good morning, Duke of the Dales. Good to have you on board on this chilly Sunday morning here in New Zealand. Miguel, I use a translator because my language is Afrikaans. Well, Miguel, I wouldn't even guess. I can read yours really, really well. Kill switch, Andy, do you like questions? What side do you like a tool girl standing on while drinking an ice cold cider? Lol. Well, actually, believe it or not, it all depends. It all depended on where the icons went on the screen. So when I do the sort of the sign off part of the video at the end, I would always put the tool girl on my right because they were a little bit shorter than me, and it gave a bit of space on the screen for those icons. However, Tool Girl Lilli's about the same height when she's wearing the big heels, so it didn't quite work out too well. But I don't mind. Probably on my right. Actually, probably on my right. But then again, when I use it's weird. Left would be better, wouldn't it? I don't know. I don't mind too much. As long as they're by my side, that's all that matters. It's good. But very good question, Kill Switch. You got me thinking there. Andy, Constantino, we all love Tool Girls. We do. They're great fun. And I have some really good news. I caught up with Tool Girl Holly last week. Well, this week, actually. It was on Thursday night, together with some of my old students from Unitech. We had a really good night, good chat, good catch up as to how things are going for them. And give them a shout out. So we've got Brennan, morning, Brennan. I know you don't watch him. You'll be in bed fast asleep, mate. But we've got Brennan. We've got, oh, I can't say a real name. We've got a guy called Lachlan. Oh, man. Hang on. Bear with me. Now, I think Lachlan, where was he working? Let me just check. Hang on. Oh, we've got all sorts going on my phone as well, actually. Hang on. Yeah, Brennan. Brennan is currently doing some building work. I think putting up houses and stuff. We've got Ashton. Morning, Ashton. Good to see you, mate. Brennan and Ashton have recently, before lockdown occurred in Australia, they managed to get back to New Zealand, their home country. And Ashton now has got a job and he's doing steel fabrication, which is very different to being a heavy diesel mechanic that he was doing over in Australia. And Brennan was servicing and repairing forklift trucks, diesel ones, gas ones, and also he did quite a few of the electric forklift trucks. He was quite interested in learning more about those. So yeah, we had a good chat. And Tool Girl Holly, she went in for some surgery a few weeks ago on her I think it was a right wrist. Yeah, it was a right wrist. She had a bit of a cyst thing going on underneath. You couldn't really see it very well, but it was causing her a lot of pain. And she's had that removed, and her arm is getting a lot better now. She's very happy with the way things are going. It took quite some time to get the operation done. She was on the waiting list for a very long time, actually. They didn't see it as being a critical surgery, so it was constantly being delayed. But it's done now, and she should hopefully be back in the workshop. I've told her there's no pressure, just whenever you're ready, whenever you feel comfortable. Probably another couple of months before she'll be back down again for some more filming. And then we can make a start on her farm bike, because I'm picking all the parts up next week. And I might I'll do the repairs which are common to the videos that I did on Lily's bike, so I won't need to film those. And then we'll do the repairs that are specific to that particular bike for Holly, with Holly, if that makes sense. It's a bit early this morning. Jim K. I thought I would only need a 2-channel scope, but now I'm thinking a 4-channel for times like the idle speed control. A 4-channel scope is significantly more expensive, but I have found it to be very, very useful. It saves a lot of time, and because you can capture 4 different channels at the same time, you can see faults and common issues between them, within the same timeline, how one affects the other kind of thing. So if you can afford it, go for a 4-channel, but the most important thing is get a scope. That's the critical part. But chances are, if you buy a 2-channel, then within a year, you're probably thinking, shit, I need to buy a 4-channel, and then it's even more money. You should be able to sell a 2-channel pretty well, but hey, I don't know. If it was me, I would just save up and get the 4-channel. Daniel, hello, Andy. Daniel, you've sent me a message as well, haven't you? Here we go. Daniel sent me a Facebook message. What's he say? Okay, I'll put this out to everybody because I don't use all data. Daniel's saying, and it might be the same one on here actually. Where's he gone? Yes, here we go. Right. What plan of all data do you think I should have? My boss will pay for me to work on his taxi cabs. Well, I don't know, Daniel, because I don't use all data. I don't know what plans are available, and those plans might vary from one country to another as well. So I'll put it out to the mass audience out there. We've got 44 people watching. Anybody else out there use all data currently? Would you like to advise Daniel on what you believe to be the best plan at the moment that's available? Sorry, Daniel, I can't really speak because I don't have any experience on that. Because when I was at Unitech, we used all data, but they paid for the subscription, and we just had the passwords. Now then, God, it's cold in here. Loads of questions. Mad Max 2. Hi, Andy. I own a Kawasaki ZX12. Should I buy a newer Kawasaki ZZR 1400? Or would I regret the move Regret the move. Ridden the 14, but like the shorter wheelbase and less weight of my 12 from Nottinghamshire. I think it's got a lot to do with where you ride. The heavier the bike gets, then the harder it is. Like you say, the handling does get compromised, and it's not as much fun on the tight, twisty roads. And you know, plus you've got a pretty big engine down there. I think a 1200cc is big enough, don't you? Probably more likely to lose your license and get pinged for speeding on the big bike. Personally, I'd stay with the ZX12. I actually have more fun on smaller bikes than big bikes. I find that you end up not doing stupid, ridiculous speeds, which if you make a mistake, things become pretty terminal. Whereas on little bikes, you can mess around, you can push them hard, you can find the limits. And if it all goes wrong, okay, you're going to hurt yourself, but you're probably going to survive. You know, the biggest CC bike I have at the moment is my KTM 640. Had it for years. Have a lot of fun riding it. Yes, when I'm out on the straight, the long straight roads here in New Zealand, it's probably a little bit underpowered and a bit more speed, a bit more fun. But I just choose roads that suit the bike. So I just go and find the back roads, and I have a lot more fun on the back roads than I do the main roads. And it keeps you away from all the numpty drivers as well by using the back roads. Plus, you can stop whenever you want, you know. The views are usually better, and you get to visit places that you would have missed if you'd been on the main road. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I don't think you need the ZZR 1400. But hey, that ultimately is your call. Now then, I might go and plug the heater in a minute. It's freezing in here. Jim K, are there public charging stations for electric cars? Oh, sorry, I've missed one. I'll come back to you, Jim. Miguel, so do you now have iJava, or what is it? Hang on a minute. I'm trying to get the Miguel. Where are you, Miguel? What was your last question? I don't know. I don't even recognize what iJava is. Maybe I'm showing my age now, but I certainly don't have it. I don't use any kind of online technical specification platform. I get all my specs either from service manuals, well, actually from service manuals. So I just go online and search out. And if I can't find it online, then I just use some of my contacts in the industry and get the service manual that I need. They're always very helpful and supply it to me. I haven't yet struggled to get or been unable to get. Sometimes it's been quite difficult, but I've always managed to get the information that I needed relative to that particular year and model of bike or car for that instance. So, Jim, are there public charging stations for electric cars? There's a few around, more in the main cities, obviously, and more are popping up. And it seems, in general, they're paid for by the local councils, but I think it depends on where they are. So in the end, ultimately, the taxpayer is paying for that electric. If it's free, sometimes there are free charging points, because obviously the councils are trying to encourage the use of these electric vehicles. But there are other ones that you've got to pay at as well. So like I suppose service stations in their car park, they might have a couple of charge points, and then you'd use your credit card to connect, I suppose. Miguel, it's a Bluetooth light speaker. Oh, is it? I don't know. I don't have one of those. Mike Adams, I don't really have a use for it, to be honest, either, really. Mike Adams, these sexual, intellectual environmentalists don't think too far ahead. They think stopping using fossil fuels will save the earth, but they don't think about needing a hazmat team to scrap e-cars. They don't. It's all about education, and I really think somebody should do a proper documentary on the full production, life, and disposal of an e-vehicle, and then compare that to that of a regularly used petrol-powered car or motorcycle, whichever, makes no difference, but they should do a real good comparison in depth from the start, the manufacturing process, and all the travel involved to get the minerals from the various mines around the world, to the factories to make the battery packs and other bits and pieces, to then transport those to the final factory for assembly. I think if all that was taken into account, and the disposal of that vehicle when it comes to the end of its life, then it would paint, I think, a very different picture to what the marketing teams of said manufacturers paint when they're trying to sell you one. And the current opinions of the local councils and governments, I think, would change quite a bit if they really knew what was going on. There you go. That was pretty good summary, wasn't it? Really. So that's what I would like to see. And then the public would have a fully justified, they'd have all the information that they need to make that sort of justified decision whether they want to go e-vehicle or not. Miguel, it uses an E27 light fitting. I think you've meant there. Okay. Kill Switch BB, come on guys, can we all smash the like button please? Aye, see, it took somebody else to say that. Yes, if you're enjoying the video and watching me freezing my nuts off in the workshop, then please click the like button. I'm going to drink some more cold coffee. And Mrs. Mechanic's still in bed, by the way. Oh, that really is cold now. It really is. Right, I've got to finish my breakfast. I started this nearly an hour ago. The Blackwoods Mechanic. True, Mike Adams. Reynolds back. I'll give you your due, Reynolds. You are determined to teach me Spanish, aren't you? I can see it happening. You need to use the translator, mate. I don't understand any of that. Andy Constantino. I can't afford a Pico scope, so I bought a Handtech 8-channel scope. Wow. It's a copy of the Pico, costs £200 and works really well. Well, if it works and it's in your budget, then that's fine. It's not a problem. You don't have to get a Pico. I mean, they are the industry leaders, but there's lots of other options out there. And the most important thing is that you have a scope, and then you can earn some money with that scope, diagnosing faults, and then eventually you might decide you want to upgrade to a Pico. But the bottom line is you've now got one, and that's the important thing. And an 8-channel scope, that's awesome. Kill Switch, Mad Max. Take a 1400 for a test ride. It's the only way we'll know it's for you. I thought he did ride it. I thought he said he had ridden it. Andy Constantino. Well said, Mike Adams. Connor K. There we go. Connor will have some valid information about these cars. About Tesla. I can't imagine people who use a truck for work would buy one. People won't want to remove paint buckets and tools to pull an air comp in the front if they can pull it out from the side. I know Tesla they did release an idea for a pickup truck, didn't they, not so long ago? Very sort of straight line thing, very futuristic. I think realistically the e-car stuff is more aimed at just your domestic user, your family car kind of scenario, your commuter vehicle. I suppose eventually one day maybe we're going to see it replace what we would call a ute or even a 4-wheel drive, but proper full-size 4-wheel drive. But I think those days are a long way away, and I think it'd be more realistic if we had the hydrogen fuel cell side of things working properly. Then that might be a feasible option for the larger trucks. But to just cart around such a large weight of batteries, and if you're going out into the middle of nowhere as well, which a lot of 4-wheel drives do, and utes and so on, 4-wheel drive utes, you're not going to have the charging stations available. So it just isn't going to work in those sort of environments. So I think Connor's right. But for the domestic traveler, which is who they're aiming for marketing wise, in the main, then you know, it's got potential, but I think at the moment it's just they're a lot more expensive to buy. There's a huge carbon footprint in the production of the vehicles, and I don't think they're anywhere near as beneficial to the environment as what the marketing teams tend to make out. And let's not forget, you know, it also depends on where you're using that vehicle. If you're using that vehicle in a country where they've only got, you know, nuclear power or coal power, or they're burning timber to make. And in the UK, we used to have some wood power stations. A lot of the timber that came out of Langdale Forest, where we used to operate, used to go to power these wood-powered power stations. So if you're getting your electric from that kind of a source, then it's not environmentally friendly electric. It's still causing problems for the world, you know, because that's because of the pollution being given out by that particular power station. If, however, the vehicle's being used in a country where you've got renewable power sources, they've got solar power or wind power, and I've actually been watching a series on Netflix about I forget the name of it, but it's something to do with islands, and it's a number of different islands around the world where they've really pushed very hard to become self-sufficient on power and to use renewable power sources, you know, hydroelectric, for example. I mean, and that's very popular here in New Zealand. In those kind of countries, then electric cars sort of make a lot more sense. But again, I mean, the take-up of electric cars hasn't really been that successful in any of those countries. Any of those islands. But, you know, people are trying to do their best, but I think they're making the wrong decisions, or decisions based on misinformation or not the full information available. So I think transparency needs to be called for. And there needs to be some kind of a TV documentary that's, you know, available to anybody to watch on a platform which is accessible to everybody, so that people that are interested can watch and be informed before they make the decision. Because there's a lot of advantages, but there's also a lot of disadvantages as well. And I think the disadvantages are being very much downplayed at the moment. Kill switch. I have a Quacker 650, a Kawasaki 650. Can outrun the bigger bikes on the twisties. Yeah, there's no point, you know, it's not all about capacity. If you can't get the power, the output of the engine down onto the tarmac, and you haven't got good handling, then what's the point? Anything can go fast in a straight line, but that straight lines aren't fun. It's the twisty stuff that's fun, you know, and that's why I like the smaller bikes. Reynold, friend, got that, amigo. Can you recommend, there's a lot of recommendations for Reynold, isn't there? Motorcycles. Okay, it looks like he wants me to recommend him an electric motorcycle. I can't. I haven't ridden one. I know there's a few out there. Would I have one? No, I wouldn't have one. I like proper engines. And I don't have enough information about them to be able to recommend a particular one. And that might, Reynold, it might vary on what's available in your country to what we've got here in New Zealand. And there's very, very little here in New Zealand, to be honest. Roger Heaps. Oh, hang on. I put my breakfast down again. There's somebody at the door. That might be a fresh coffee. Hang on. Ooh, we've got fresh coffee in me Colin Furs mug. Look at that. Safety third, and some fresh toast. So I'm going to eat the toast straight away, because I'm always leaving my toast till it goes cold, and that's a bit of a waste, isn't it? I still eat it, but it's much nicer to have it when it's warm. Right. Well, breakfast time. Oh, nope. Ray Green. It's good night here. Miguel. Bye. My phone is getting hot. Bye. All right, Miguel. Thanks for being on board, mate. We'll see you next time. Jim K. What model Pico do you have? Let's have a look. Now, they're both the same, 4-channel, and that's the model there, look, which is a 4425. There you go, look, can you see that okay? So 4-channel, 4425, and that's part of the automotive kit. So it comes with your amp clamps and other bits and pieces. Very, very useful. I was using it, in fact, because I have 2, obviously. Not obviously, I got sent 2, so I used 2. And the first one was, there we go. The first one is this one, and then the other one, for about 2 years, was on loan. It was available for loan to motorcycle dealers of a particular brand here in New Zealand, and they took full use of that. It spent almost 2 years bouncing from one dealership to the next, helping them to A, diagnose faults, but B, learn how beneficial an oscilloscope is for diagnostic purposes. And since then, some of those dealers have already purchased a scope of their own, which is fantastic. Others undenied for a while. Now I've taken that second scope back. Enough's enough. You had it on loan for 2 years. I now have that in my truck as my field scope for doing diagnostic repairs on site. So I've always got one with me, and I've always got one here in the workshop. The problem was sometimes I'd be out and about and I'd leave my scope here in the workshop. I wouldn't have it with me, and I really needed it. So I've taken it back, and now it's for those dealers to make a decision. Basically go and buy one, simple as that. Now then, Ray Green, did you look for the Antar tank transporter on YouTube? I think I did. I have seen it. It's very, very good. I'll check it again though. It was a while ago when I last looked at one of those. Richie mate, in fact I can just put my toes down for a second and I can just Google a picture again. Images. Can't spell. Oh, look at that. Thornycroft Antar. Oh yeah, they're cool, they are. Old school. I like those. Awesome machine. I'll read more about that later on when I'm having my second breakfast. Bacon butty it'll be, I think. Richie mate. Morning, Andy. That was a good catch. Got up early to catch the live stream and work on my Triton. Have I missed any news? Oh, only that I've bought 2 more bikes. I had to pay for them, and they weren't cheap, and they were quite a lot more expensive than the first batch. But I still think they were sort of worth doing. I was already there anyway. Will I buy some more in the future? I don't know. I'll have to be very selective on the ones that I take off their hands because, well, some of them are pretty knackered. They need a lot of work doing. And the spare parts are not cheap to buy. I mean, the parts for Holly's farm bike, I got the invoice the other day. And it's not all the parts. We're already up to $510 in New Zealand for the bits and pieces that it needs. But that's not everything. I need some new foot pegs. I might be able to get aftermarket ones for those. I'll have to have a chat with one of my friends up at Car Tire, see if they can organise things for me. God, there's a little bug. Go away. Thank you. Jim K. On the Picos, what bandwidth should I be looking at? Bandwidth? What are you on about, bandwidth? Does it say bandwidth? I don't get you, Jim. What do you mean by bandwidth? Because it's adjustable. You can choose whatever you want. Bandwidth. I'll sound professional now. Jim, you need 20 megahertz. There you go, look. I'll give you it again. There's the spec. All right. Cool. I didn't realize you could get different ones. That's how naive I am. And don't think that I'm a professional at using a scope, because I'm not. I'm not like Erico or Ivan or Keith. I've just really picked up what I know from using them and from a few videos that I watch. But I have used it a lot now, and I'm getting a lot better at using it. And that's something that I tell the techs. You know, the more you use it, and if you can capture some known good waveforms on brand new vehicles, store them in your folder, then you've got a point of reference. You can go back to those and compare what you're getting now on the problem vehicle with the known goods. Good question, Jim. Thank you. You caught me out there. Go away, fly. Jesus. Andy, hydrogen is the best way forward. I think it is too. I really do think it is too. But I really would want to investigate more into the carbon footprint of producing the hydrogen fuel cell and everything that goes with it. Because again, you know, until you know, you don't know. Ray Green, I wish e-cars would make a noise to warn us old folk of them approaching. We've been discussing that, Ray. And as a pedestrian, there was a study done. You're twice as likely to be run over by an e-car as a pedestrian than you are a normal petrol engine car. So, you know, you've hit the nail on the head there. It is an issue, and they're just too damn quiet. That's the problem. Andy, EV cars are just a big con. Overrated and overpriced. In the UK, they are trying to con the public into believing that all CI engines, I think mean IC, internal combustion, engines cause pollution. Stick your nose near the exhaust of a new diesel. I agree. Diesel technology has come on tremendously in the last few years, and the pollutants, you know, are drastically reduced. I think you're right, but you know, the governments in general are pushing EV. Well, they are pushing electric vehicles very, very hard here in New Zealand, and I'm sure in other countries they're doing the same thing. But I think it's important that the public are aware of the full picture, like I said earlier on, you know, about the overall cost to the planet on producing an electric vehicle, not just the use of the fuel during its lifetime. The production of the vehicle and the disposal of the vehicle at the end are two major parts that contribute towards the carbon footprint and the overall environmental impact of that particular vehicle on the planet. It's good toast. Andy goes on to say there's no soot or smell. There isn't, you're right, but for the consumer to achieve that, the running costs of those new diesels are a lot higher. You know, you've got a higher level of servicing going on. You've got very expensive replacement parts. You know, it comes at a cost. So really, you know, everything's going to be weighed up properly. You can't just, are diesels better? I think they are. They've got a lot more power, a lot more bang for the buck, far better range. And like you say, there's a lot less emissions now than there used to be. Robert Hickey, she's a good woman to put up with you. Putting up is the word, believe me. She's a great woman, is Mrs. Mechanic. She does a fantastic job. I'm surprised she's still around, to be honest. Reynold, Preventio Amigo. Okay, I don't know what Preventio means. Amigo. My toast is going to get cold. Hang on. Let's do that. Let me at least translate one word for Reynold. Bear with me, people. Spanish to English. Spanish. Paste. English. Advantage! Okay. So, Reynolds. Advantage, friend. I'm still none the wiser. Jim K. What is the spread on the toast? Jam jelly. Well, it's just jam. We call it jam. And I think it's, well, it's not strawberry. It's something else. I don't know what it is. It's all right now. Might be boysenberry. Andy Constantino. I built an electric push bike. 750 watt motor. 48 watt battery. Just 30 miles an hour. That's fantastic. A friend of mine down at Off-Road Adventures has got a mountain bike, which he's done, which has got a 1,000 watt motor in the hub, I think he said. And he rides that up and down the main street. It's actually his main form of transport. He just buzzes around in the summertime on it to get around. He uses it just like a scooter, really, you know, a moped. Then you can take it off-road as well. Wicked. Daniel. Sorry, but I had a phone call I had to take. So I want to be able to send you the picture of the all data plans in time. Sorry. Well, you can. Daniel, you can communicate to me via email, which is andymechanic@live.co.uk. It's in the description down the bottom on this video, and I'll try and get back to you. But I'd have to do some research to look at it. I have no background on that kind of stuff. I just don't use it. And I don't think you can post a picture on here. No, you can't. So it makes it a bit difficult. But if you want to fire it through, I can stick it on my Instagram and ask people for their opinions, and then email you back. John Dyer. I'd buy an Antar Mark III and live in it. Put a house on the back. When I sold my ZIL 131 before a couple of years before I left England, a guy bought that. He didn't live in it. He took the big. It had a big Bowser. It was a decontamination spec ZIL, and he took the tank off the back. And he I think he just mounted a porter cabin. He just bought a porter cabin and mounted it, just made some brackets up and mounted it straight on the chassis. And he used it as his office because the council, previously he'd had his office, because he worked from home, he had his office in the house. And the council pinged him for not having planning permission. This is in the UK. So this is why he decided to put his office on the back of a vehicle. And then it was then classed as a mobile vehicle, basically. And it didn't fall under the same planning requirements because he was just parking it in his drive, and they couldn't get him for it. That was his way of getting around it. And buying the vehicle, it wasn't expensive, didn't need to be road legal. He just parked it on his driveway, and that was that. Problem solved. Pretty cool office in the morning. Climbing up the ZIL. I'd definitely have it running. I get it fired up on a Sunday morning and give it a good rev and get the batteries charged up and annoy the crap out of the neighbours. That's just me though. Daniel, if you want, you can show the picture that I sent to you on Facebook. Hang on then, Daniel. You're a genius. Okay. So Daniel wants to know which of these three plans, these all-laser plans, is the best to go for. Wow, it's not cheap. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I swipe the right way. Sorry. That's plan number one, and this is in dollars. I take it it's US dollars, I think. Trying to get it focuses for you. So $227 per month. Holy shit. That's that one. And then he's got another one here. $286 a month. Wow, this is not cheap. And that one got that particular one, all data collision advantage. All data technician technician advantage. If you're a technician, that's what you want to be going for. And that's the other one there, look. There you go. So you don't want the middle one unless you're doing collision repairs. Don't think you need that. So realistically, you're either going to spend $179 on the OEM repair data a month, or $227 a month, and then you get the all data mobile, and you get assistance for a tech assist, a hotline, which you don't get on that. Personally, I'd go for that one. For the sake of another, let's say, $40 a month, and you get all that additional stuff, that's the one I'd be going for. Just reading on that. But hey, I haven't used it before, so can't really comment. Well, I have used it, but I've not subscribed myself. I've never had to pay for it. Okay, Daniel, hopefully that's going to be of some help to you. If you just scan through the comments as they come through, you might get some answers. You've got my answer. Andy, no, I meant compression ignition. Sorry, mate. Sorry. Diesel. Bastian from KWH-BSN, wherever that is. Hi, Andy. Been a while since I was able to watch your live stream. Guess I missed a lot. You have. We've done loads of live streams, and it all really started during the lockdown period here in New Zealand. And I was thinking the other day about, you know, it's a great time for me, these live streams, but it does eat into my Sundays quite significantly. I mean, we're an hour and 22 minutes in now. Today is a relatively quiet day. I'm going to do a bit more work and maybe another video on Alan's CB750K2 because that is the main project going on at the moment. The video that I filmed last Sunday, I'm going to edit later this afternoon, and that should be on the channel. I would say from now, probably, what time are we on now? It'll be about 14, maybe 16 hours from now when it goes live. It does take quite a while to upload, and I've gone through a new process now that I've noticed where with YouTube they've implemented a monetization check as well on the videos. So not only does it upload it in a standard format and then in HD, which takes a little bit longer to process the HD, you then got to wait as a creator for the monetization to be verified, which can take quite a few hours. They say about 20 minutes, but my experience is it's been 5 or 6 hours before that's been passed. And then once that's done, then I can make the video live, which means any videos filmed on Sunday here in New Zealand tend to only hit, you know, on Sunday. There's basically about a day's delay from when I edit the video to when it goes live on the channel. When I film it is irrelevant because it just sits on the hard drive until it's edited. So there is a bit more of a delay. I can't quite catch the weekend viewings like I used to be able to do unless I edit on the Saturday in New Zealand, which is your Friday normally, and then it would go on the channel a bit sooner. So maybe I need to change things around how I do stuff at this end. But I'm always keen to get on the tools on a Saturday morning and get my jobs done. I mean, yesterday I finished that last RRV. That's now on the trailer, ready to go back. You know, so I have other commitments. I don't know how I'm going to be able to continue, or if I'm going to be able to continue the live streams every Sunday or not. We'll have to wait and see. I'm also planning to get a decent laptop so I can edit while I'm away on the road. But again, that's going to have to wait another few months yet. All sorts of stuff going on. Right, Daniel, I need to diagnose why my why the key fob doesn't work. The front doors lock and unlock controls and unlock control. Oh, sorry, the front doors lock and unlock controls don't work. The fuel light is on, but it has a full tank of gas and a brand new fuel pump and sending unit installed. Okay, the fuel gauge doesn't work on a 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan, 3.6 litre variable valve timing. Okay, so all right. So the front doors lock and unlock controls don't work. The fuel light is on. Any codes? Need to scan for codes, mate. I think find out, get some direction from that. It's almost like your oh, mind you, your fuel lights on. Don't know. Sorry, Daniel. I'm going to skip down now. There's loads. Bastian, e-cars are very expensive for customers and the environment. They are rich people's toys. That wasn't the idea. The idea is they're trying to solve the world's, or trying to wean us off petrol and diesel. But it comes at a cost, obviously. Daniel, I need the old data to help me out with the wire connectors and wire color diagrams. You do. So you'll have to get subscribed and get it sorted out. Jim K, I decided to make myself some toast also. Toast is so good. Cinnamon raisin. Oh, nice. Yeah, I must admit, when you watch somebody else eat on telly, man, it always makes me hungry as well, especially when it's a good steak. Reynold. Okay. I think Reynold is asking for us to recommend some kind of diagnostic tool for cars and motorcycles. There are a few out there now. I can't remember any names. I'm completely blank today. A friend of mine, one of the technicians over in Napier, and another dealership from that purchased one down in Dunedin, and that they are motorcycle specific. They use the OBD2 motorcycle connection, and they've got really good feedback from both dealers on the use of that tool. So what I'll try and do when I'm out and about next time is I'll get some more details for you, and I'll pass that on a live stream. I might just do like an Instagram post on it. It's not something that I'm looking at getting, because the bikes I tend to work on a way before that here in the workshop. So I'm not looking at spending that kind of money and buying one myself. But I'll try and do a bit more research on the one that they've got. Whether it does cars or not, I don't know. I think it is motorcycle specific. I don't know of any scan tool that does cars and bikes. Andy, shame. Sorry, Andy. Daniel, it's talking about the advantage scan tool. The advantage is really, that is a really good scan tool. I didn't know if it did bikes or not. Bastian, did you check BB Industries diagrams? Last time I went onto BB Industries, they'd taken it down. It wasn't available. Whether there's no more support there, or they seem to have stopped doing it. I picked that up from one of Ivan's videos and tried to log in from here in New Zealand, and it wasn't supported anymore. Andy, shame I can't post a picture of it. It is, but if you want to find me on Facebook and Facebook message me a picture, then I'll show it on screen for you. How's that? Reynold. He's off again. Oh. I've got DeWalt. That's all I can get out of that. Sorry, Reynold. Josh, sorry, Andy, have to go to take the kids shopping. Nice. Don't let them spend too much of your money. Nice to see you. See you on. Hope to see you a couple of videos of the salvage scrap bikes. Look forward to it. Could be a while, to be honest. I have to warn you, I've got a lot of stuff going on at the moment, and that CB750 is going to take up a lot of my time over the next few months. I've got a deadline. I've got to crack on with it. So thanks, Josh. Have fun with the kids, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining. Cheers. Mike Adams, the advantages to electric is peak power and torque immediately without a wind-up, but less time to run, hours to charge. Combustion lasts longer and takes minutes to refuel. It does, and the way that the infrastructure is at the moment, refueling with petrol or diesel is far more available as well. That's something else that you've got to bear in mind, you know, depending on where you drive to. I mean, I drive all over New Zealand all the time, and could I do that in an electric vehicle? I don't think I could, to be honest. I don't think it would work, and it certainly wouldn't tow the big trailer, that's for sure. Daniel, yes, that used to be my favorite site to go for wiring diagrams. I love BB Industries, but they took it down. They did. I thought they had. I even told Ivan from Pine Hollow Automotive Diagnostics, and they didn't believe me that they did that. Well, they did, from my experience as well, and it was a big shame because I was just about to start to get into using them as well. But he found out that I was right, so it's been months that I went on there. Andy sent you a couple of pics on Instagram. Oh, on Instagram, right? Another platform to play with. Let's have a look. Ooh, nothing's come through. Not yet. Three requests. Ah, hang on then. Ah, there we are. Found you. View photo. Nice. See, Mon technology is great, isn't it? Look at that. There's his bike, his e-bike. Fantastic. Ah, another one, look there. It's just jumping between the two. Awesome job, mate. That's fantastic stuff. What a pro. Is that the same bike, just you've repainted the frame? It looks like the same bike. I think it is. 5th of July. Good job. Good man. Right. Bastian. Oh, I don't know. I have all data through work now, but only European spec cars, unfortunately. Oh, that's a shame. Daniel, I wish I could do the trifecta of having all data Mitchell on demand and Shopkey, but if you look and see how expensive all data is, the other two are about or more than the data is. Wow. Yeah, it's expensive. It really is, and you've got to justify it. You know, it's an ongoing cost. No codes. Oh dear. I don't know the answer, Daniel. I can't really diagnose that for you. Mike Adams, I'm finally loaded and rolling. Well done, Mike. Well, good luck and be safe. And turn off the live stream. You need to drive. Thanks for joining us, Mike, and I'll see you next time, mate. Cheers. Daniel, and the horn works when you push it, okay, and the steering wheel, but not with the panic part of the key fob. Right, okay. Interesting stuff. So yeah, if you had your diagnostic tool, you should be able to check the incoming signals from your key fob. It should show up on the screen, you know, on a particular test screen. But you'll need the scan tool to do that, or a scan tool that will allow access to that kind of stuff. You have to give Ivan a call. Ivan might be able to give you a hand with that. He's far more involved with that kind of stuff than I am. John Dyer, O for Daniels. Jim K, Snap-on P100 does bikes and cars. There you go. See, collaboration. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. Choppers Rule 1. Good day, mate. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Choppers Rule 1. Good to have you on board, sir. Reynolds must be the most common contributor to the live streams, and I don't understand a word that he's saying. Oh, here we go. Look, I can get this one. Do you prefer, I think he's saying, do you prefer DeWalt or Makita? I prefer Makita. And the reason for that is that I started down the Makita run years and years ago, and they do everything I ask of them. They're really good. Are they better than DeWalt? I don't really know, because once you start to choose one particular brand, you tend to stay with it, so you can interchange batteries, and it's a lot more, well, interchangeable. If you've got two separate brands, it becomes a bit of a nightmare. Oh, hang on, it's all, oh geez, don't do that. Andy Constantino, launch do a good scanner, does bikes and cars. Excellent. See, you guys know a lot more than I do about this stuff. Choppers Rule, how are you today? I am a bit cold, actually. The sun's come out. It's going to be quite warm outside now, but the temperatures will be rising pretty quick. But in the workshop, it stays really cold until I open the doors. And I can't open the doors because there's a brand outside that will show on camera. I could open one door. I could do. But it'll show on camera, and it's not allowed to be on camera. So I can't open the doors. Now then, Reynolds. Oh, I was saying something about Snap-on, Autel, Bosch. It's very complicated. Completo? I don't know. I don't get that, Reynolds. Sorry. I keep saying that, and I feel really bad that I'm saying that every time, but I just don't understand what you're saying. Not enough to be able to comment. Alexander Smith, what did you save 2 bikes from the crusher? Or what did you save? Well, the 2 bikes that I saved, one was the yellow, it's actually right down behind me on the ground, is the DR200, and that's a 2016 model, we think. I reckon it's probably more like a 15. Not that there's any real difference, I don't think. And the other one is a Honda CTX 200, that the red one up on the stand up there, look. And I got them both off the trailer last night, and well, yesterday afternoon, and within about half an hour I got them both running. One, the battery was good. The Suzuki started up pretty much straight away. The Honda had a flat battery, did a jump start on it, and it fired up again pretty quick. I think the fuel was a bit more stale in the Honda, but once it had warmed up properly, it was quite capable of being ridden around the garden, and I was chasing Marmite the shop dog for about 20 minutes and had a great amount of fun doing donuts and charging around the garden, much to Mrs. Mechanic's annoyance, to be honest, but it was fun. So yeah, they're both running bikes, and I would hate to see them be destroyed. Sure, they're going to need wheel bearings and chains and sprockets and all that kind of stuff, but you know, you got to save the bikes. We can't just let them die, not like that. Chopper's Rule, I ride a homemade electric trike around my neighborhood. I get about 20 kilometers on a charge, a bit more if I go slow. I think electric vehicles have got their place, and they're a lot of fun, especially when you make your own stuff. And I think the electric bicycles, in fact, electric bicycles, certainly in Auckland at least, seem to be replacing scooters, 50cc mopeds, quite significantly. The sales seem to have dropped significantly across the city, and there's a lot more e-bikes around. So, you know, people are considering them as a feasible mode of transport to get to work. And being an e-bike, they're maybe prepared to travel a little bit further on a bicycle than they would do if they had to pedal all the time. So, you know, we are seeing a change out there for sure. Alexander, hi Chopper. Chopper's Rule, hi Alexander. Alexander Smith, welcome Chopper. There we go, look, we've got all this stuff going on. Andy Constantino, lost you for a few minutes. Oh, really? Sorry, mate. Andy Constantino, Makita all the way. Yeah, I do like Makita, whether it's the mains powered stuff or whether it's the rechargeable stuff. I use it all the time, and it's just part of my toolkit now, basically. Paul Jordan, where are you from originally? Dodgy New Zealand accent. It's not a New Zealand accent. It absolutely is far from being a New Zealand accent. I am from essentially York in England. That's where I grew up. John Dyer, EV cars only have a range of about 150 miles and take 16 hours to charge. But if you do a 30-mile a day in one, it only takes about 45 minutes. Weird. Yeah, I think that's more to do with voltage differential, isn't it? You know, the batteries will take a charge pretty quick for the first hour, and then the charge starts to tail off as the battery pack's voltage slowly climbs. That's my sort of take on it anyway. It is. I mean, the crazy thing is, the shorter the journeys you do, the sort of more usable the EV cars are, but the less benefit they are to the environment over a normal petrol or diesel car, if you know what I mean. Because you really need to clock up a lot of miles in your EV car to then get beyond the carbon footprint of the production, the additional costs and harm to the environment of producing that said vehicle to start off with. So it's sort of, the two things don't match up, do they, to be honest? Choppers Rule 1. Thanks, Alexander. How are you, mate? Private conversation going on. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Let me just try and scroll. Oh, hey, we're nearly there. Alexander Smith. So does that mean we will see more videos of you doing them bikes shortly? Well, it won't be that much in the near future because I've got that CB750K2 to work on. That's going to take up quite a lot of my time. Although I do want to get into them. I also have Tool Girl Holly's farm bike, the DR200 farm spec with the racks and everything. I've got that one to also fix up, but I won't be I won't be doing any videos on that one until Holly is back in the workshop, and she's just recovering from an operation on her wrist. So hopefully in the next couple of months, that means I can really crack on with the CB750, get as much of that done as I can. Some of that will be to video. I don't think I can video all the repairs. We'll have to wait and see how things go, because the filming makes the whole repair take a lot longer. And then of course you've got the editing up to do as well, which is a huge ask. There's a lot more time goes into it for every video. I also have some repairs to do on Holly's bike, which are repairs that I've already done and made videos of on Lilli's bike, which is a very similar farm bike, just doesn't have the racks, slightly different model. But I think it's more of the road going version is that one. So there's no point me doing videos of the same repairs. That would just be silly, I think, really. And it wouldn't be good use of my time. So I'm going to save the videos of Holly's bike, the repairs, to video when Holly is back in the workshop, and we'll be doing those repairs together, which will be a lot more fun, to be honest. Now then. Jeez. Alexander, I'm okay, Chopper. Jim Haynes, had to miss this week again at the sprint car. Oh no, the sprint car races from our last pavement race of the year at, oh my God, Shenandoah, Virginia. Back next week. Good man. Well, I'm sorry you missed out your racing there, Jim. Choppers Rule 1. Why were the bikes going to the crusher? Well, I'll tell you why. This government organisation, they run a lot of farms across the lengths and breadths of New Zealand, and farm bikes, the two-wheel bikes, tend to get ridden into the ground. They're not very well looked after by the riders, and they do degrade pretty quickly. And they take them into their own workshops usually, or sometimes use local bike shops. And when you include the labour cost as well as the parts, and the fact that bikes are not that expensive to buy new, it very quickly becomes unviable to do the repairs, even though the bike, the main part of the bike, the frame, the engine and so on, and many other components are actually in good condition. Because they need so many bearings and chain and sprockets and all the other new parts replacing, it's just not viable to do. They just buy them a new one and give them a new bike. I almost get the impression that the farmers, because they've got that option, they deliberately neglect the bikes to get a new bike quicker. So normally they would just either send them to auction or just if they think they're too far gone, they'll just send them for scrap. And that's where I came in, and I made them an offer, and we have 2 more bikes to play with. And they aren't going to get crushed. They're going to get fixed up and have a whole new lease of life. And these 2 will get sold on. Will I make a profit on them? Unlikely. I might break even. But the point is that it creates some really interesting videos for the channel and covers some basic repairs that people can do at home and show them how to do them. And I enjoy fixing that kind of stuff. You know, I know they're a low-end bike, but you know, the repairs are common to the vast majority of motorcycles, so it doesn't necessarily relate directly to that or limited to that only that particular model. You know, they're useful videos, so I make them. And I like little projects, and they're ones that, you know, they're not time dependent. They'll get done when they get done. Andy, I use mine to go to and from work. No tax, no insurance, no MOT. Takes me 30 minutes to travel 9 miles. Can take shortcuts through parks and tracks. Charges quicker than the car in traffic. Wow, that's good to know. There are definitely advantages, and it's really down to your own personal circumstances as to how much of an advantage they are, those kind of bikes. Alexander Smith, I quite like watching your videos in my spare time when I'm not creating videos of my own for my own channel. Yeah, what was your channel again, Alexander? Tell me. John Dyer, I'm in the market to buy new Honda Civic E. Oh, wow. Okay, well, you know, just think about your motives as to why you're looking to buy one. And I take it that the Honda Civic E is an E vehicle. If that's the case, you know, why are you buying it? Are you buying it because you want to be more environmentally friendly? And if that's the case, then where does the electric come from to power your car? You know, is it from a renewable power source, or is it from a dirty old coal power station? Because, you know, dirty old coal power stations are not particularly environmentally friendly. Plus, the car is probably going to cost you a lot more than the petrol car. And if you don't cover very many miles in the e-car, then overall, it's going to cost you a lot more money per mile to travel. And the car might actually overall be less environmentally friendly than the petrol-powered equivalent. So do think about it before you go down that route, John. Roscoe, I almost missed this week, but I made it. Well, you did, and we're approaching 1 hour and 50 minutes, so we haven't got long to go, to be honest. I'm getting really cold now, and I need to sign off and get make a start on that CB750 again. So I'll try and do maybe another 10 minutes, and that will be it. Chopper's Rule 1, you can send me the Honda, lol. I actually quite like the little Honda. I had a lot of fun on it yesterday, and by riding it, I've got much more motivation now to get it all fixed up. And I haven't done a Honda before. I've done a few of the little Suzukis now. Ben does all the Hondas, although this one is slightly different to the ones that he's done, I think. And it is registered for the road, which is really cool. Connor K, I can't say if DeWalt is better than Makita. I can say every ship I worked on had DeWalt tools and fluke meters. Yeah, fluke meters are awesome. The thought being they needed to work always. No dealers in the middle of the ocean. You're right. Whatever tools you have, you've got to be able to rely on them. So a good point there, Connor. I'm the opposite. I can't comment on DeWalt, but I can comment on Makita, and they don't let me down. They just work. I mean, sure, the only problem that I've had was the old rechargeable angle grinder that I had, and that I just wore it out. It wasn't Makita's fault. I just wore it out, replaced the brushes, replaced the armature because I basically overused it and burnt the armature out, and it worked again just fine. It has now got another fault, and I do need to order some more parts and try and fix it up again. But you know, it's cheap to fix, and a replacement tool, it's still viable, I think, to fix it one more time, and hopefully I'll just give it light duties from then on, but we'll see. John Dyer, hydrogen car, the Honda Civic E. Hydrogen, the world's first. completely different perspective than there, John. That will be fantastic. The only thing to be conscious of then is realistically the refueling network in your area. Is the hydrogen fuel easy to get hold of, or will you have to travel additional miles to go and get it? That's probably about the only thing to discuss really there. I think that's a great idea, and you need to let me know how you get on with it. That would be great. Jim K. Andy, have you seen or do you see the Suzuki Jimny? Yes, we have lots of little Suzuki Jimnys here in New Zealand, and we even get the little ute, the little pickup version as well. I think most of them are diesel powered. You've got, well, there's a diesel and a petrol option, I think. And believe it or not, I have considered buying one for myself, just as a little runabout, because I think they're quite cool little cars, especially the new model. But I don't really have a use for it. That's the problem, because I have a company car, and my company car just gets parked in the drive all weekend when I'm at home, because I'm busy making videos and live streams. So I don't get to drive anywhere on a weekend, which is quite nice because I'm driving all week. So would it, if I bought one, it would just be because I wanted one, not because I've got a use for it. And that's probably the wrong attitude, isn't it, really? So I should save my money and wait a little bit, and maybe get one when I'm not working for my employer and I don't have a company car anymore, which will be a long time from now, I think. Alexander Smith, my channel is the name I'm using in the chat, and I do American currency. Oh, wow. On it, but I'm in the UK, up in Scotland. Wow. I'll check it out. I will. I'll check that one out. Alexander Smith. Jason Puttock, finally you saved me one from the scrapper. John Dyer, mass produced. Yeah, that's good. It's pretty awesome. Chopper's Rule. Hang on, we can show that. Where's he gone? Chopper's Rule. I'm looking for one for trail riding here in my town. I think that they're actually be quite cool. Not particularly powerful. Nothing like my WR, that's for sure. But I think you can have a lot of, hey up, we can have a lot of fun on them, on the old little farm bikes. And the ones that Ben's done up and sold have been purchased for that very use. They're no longer being worked on farms. They've been bought privately for people just to really as a first bike to go and play off road on, which is great to see that they're, bringing a lot of fun and enjoyment to people that really probably couldn't afford a trail bike, because they're cheap. They are dirt cheap. Richard Asperger. Hello, Andy. You deserve a cigarette. Ooh, penultimate one. Might have to go to the shop later on. I'll send Mrs. Mechanic. She's always good at buying cigarettes. Good point. Thank you for that. Right. Daniel Bedell. I'm uploading some short videos that I just took so that you can see exactly what I'm dealing with. I wonder if that was the ping pings. It was. Geez, hang on then. Just go out of all of that and go into that one. Oh my word. All right, I'll watch those a bit later on, Daniel, and I'll message you back. I don't think it's going to be applicable to the live stream, but I might send them through to Ivan and see if Ivan's got some ideas as well. Richard Asperger, and a cup of tea. Now I've got coffee, but I'm drinking my coffee out of my Colin Furze mug. I was a big fan of his channel. If you've not been onto Colin Furze's channel, and he's already got 10 million subscribers, so I'm not benefiting in any way really. But if you haven't been on Colin Furze's channel, you should go on it, because he makes great videos and they're a lot of fun. He's an inventor, basically. He used to be a plumber, and now he's an inventor. And he's a very good inventor, very skillful. Chopper's Rules. Did you get the chance to check out the cat rod I built on my channel? I didn't. I have to be honest, I didn't. I will. I will. Send me an email with a link, and I'm far more likely just to click the link and go to it. Jim K. I wish we could get the Suzuki Jimny here in the States. It's been over 10 years since that has been, there's been a new Suzuki car sold here. Yeah, I did hear that Suzuki cars pulled out of the States. Terrible shame. And from what I understand, Suzuki globally is in decline. We can see that on their motorcycles. There's a lot less R&D and development work going on their new models, and especially on the farm side of it as well. There's not a lot of new stuff coming through. I think they're on their way out, unfortunately. It's sad to say it, because I mean, I've owned quite a few Suzukis over the years, and these little DR200s, they're a good little bike. I do like working on them. I think they're well made, and they're made in Japan by the looks of it, so pretty cool. In fact, they are, because the VIN starts with a J, and that means it's made in Japan. Daniel, oh, there we are. The videos have been uploaded. They have. I've got those. There's a bit of a time delay on the old comments here. Mike Adams, sounds like New Zealand, quite a bit. Vehicle laws are a bit over the top. They are very restrictive in some ways. Are you allowed to modify vehicles there? How strict are they if you do? Very good point. And my cigarette's gone out. Hang on. You are allowed to modify vehicles to a limit. If you increase the power output, I think by anything more than, I think it's 10%, maybe 20%, then you've got to get it revinned or an engineer's check done. Then they consider that the brakes need to be uprated. If it's a four-wheel drive and you lift the vehicle, you modify the suspension, then again, it's all got to be checked and signed off if it's over a certain height of lift. And you've got to use reputable parts. You can't just make something yourself. They get really upset by that kind of thing. Any kind of welding done to a chassis for the warrant of fitness, in theory, the inspector can request a copy of the welder's certificate to prove it's been done to a standard. And they really, really, really do not like rust in this country. They get really upset if there's even a spot of rust on like an A-post pillar or something like that. They're absolutely anal about it, to be honest. In the UK, we could get away with a lot more. Here, they are very, very restrictive. And it's normally rust that will kill a vehicle and get it off the road. Even though realistically, the structure of the vehicle hasn't really been compromised. It's sacrilege, to be honest. A motorcycle can fail the warrant of fitness if there's rust on the spokes. Not surface rust, but if you can actually feel pitting in the spoke, that's a fail. Alexander Smith, yeah, Colin Furs, like him as well. That's good to hear, Alexander. I've watched all his videos, and I think not just the content, but the way that they're edited. They're very fast flowing, very entertaining videos. He's a great presenter as well. He really is. I wish I could. Oh, we almost lost the live stream then. I think YouTube's getting fed up with these long videos. But no, he's really good at presenting. If I could bring the same kind of energy to my videos as he does his, then I think they'd be a lot more popular. But I am the way I am. I can't change things. And I try to cover a bit more technical detail in mine. And so people can learn from them. I've noticed a lot more on Colin's videos. Sure, he shows snippets of things being made, and then, you know, on what the plan is at the start, a few snippets with some nice music over it, and then the end product. There's not, you can't really learn too much from the actual video on the machining and the drilling and the design process, but that's not what his channel's about. And you know, what he does is fantastic. Thoroughly enjoy it and totally support him. I actually sent him a calendar and he hasn't replied back. Very upset. Now then, I'm just checking. I thought we'd lost the feed again then. Richard Asperger, Colin Furs reminds me of Tommy Chopper. Tommy Cooper. Tommy Cooper was cool, but really he reminds you of Tommy Cooper. Interesting. I'll have to try and work out what the link is there. Mike Adams, now I have the Beach Boys singing Little Honda in my head. Chopper's Rule 1. I can't post a link on your chat because I'm not a moderator. No, you can't, but you can send me an email with the link My email address is andymechanic@live.co.uk, and it's actually, there is a link in the description on my email. It's listed on there. Daniel Beddle, if you do back into Ivan's older videos, you will see this exact scan tool in his videos. My scan tool used to be his. Wow, look at that. That's cool. Good job, Daniel. Well, get hold of Ivan. He'll be able to help you. He knows a lot more about that stuff than I do. He gave it to you. Wow, you're a lucky chap. Ivan is a really cool kid. He really is. He's a good guy. Jason Puttock, Project Obsolescence. Pretty much. Andy Constantino, time to bid you good night. Take care and have a great day. I will, Andy. I've got a long day ahead of me again. I've got to edit some videos this afternoon, which will be nice and warm in my study. But well, I say study, it's like the spare room that's got all the junk in it. But yeah, I want to just do some more on that CB750 before I pack up the workshop. I need to do something on the tools today, otherwise I feel really unproductive. So thanks, Andy, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Jason Puttock, hate state police. Well, they're just doing a job. Oh, we've got to the end of the comments. Look at that. I've caught up. It's only taken me 2 hours and 1 minute to catch up with all the comments. My apologies. But yet again, you guys have provided some fantastic content to this live stream. And all I've brought to the table is a couple of old farm bikes to talk about. And you will see those in future being worked on and got back into a reasonable state of repair and definitely usable and rideable and providing fun for whoever's going to buy them. But yeah, it's been great to have you guys on board. Now, I haven't done a plug yet. For those of you that haven't yet purchased your official Andy Mechanic mug, and there's lots of different variations now. There's a whole range of Tool Girl mugs as well. You can drop onto www.zazzle.co.uk. There is a link in the description. You can click on that and you'll see the whole array of the Andy Mechanic merch. And that merch is growing. There's more stuff to go on in the future as well. And, you know, if you do decide to buy something, that'd be great. And once it arrives, send me through a selfie pic with your merch to my email address and I'll post it on Instagram and you'll get put into the draw to win some 10 tools, some forge gear, and some really cool additional Andy Mechanic merch that's not available on the Zazzle site. Some stuff a bit like the jacket that I have, the black jacket. I'm going to get you a jacket made up and I'll throw a few other bits and pieces in too as well. So there you go. That is the live stream done for this Sunday. Thank you again for all your comments and discussions. Even the Spanish stuff. What was his name? I'm forgetting his name. He's gone away now. What was his name? Where is he? I've got to give him a shout out. Reynold, thank you very much. I'm really sorry that I couldn't really respond to very many of your messages. If you could try Reynold before the next live stream to get the hang of using Google Translate, that would be a huge help to all of us, because then we can contribute and chip in and give you some feedback on your questions. Okay, crew. Well, until next time, I'm going to go and get a nice hot coffee now. I'll see you next Sunday, if not before. Cheers. Over and out.